Good morning, Sherry. As you can see behind me, the crews are still on the scene of this massive fire. Now, that fire is on the ramp off of 81 north to the 322 westbound ramp. We're told that possible explosions. As we were even trying to get here, the police were telling us stay back. They still have fear of explosions. If Josh, the cameraman, can pan off to the side a little bit, you'll see the ramps off of the 81 ramp right there. You'll see all the fire crews, emergency crews for quite a bit, just all responding every which way direction. You certainly have every direction around this area. In front of it doesn't look like it may have extensive damage. The fire chief says it's very possible that we have a total loss of 2 homes here. He's not confirming that second house, but he says it's a pretty good idea that that second house was lost. Right now, we are told 4 people have been displaced because of this fire, which started around 4:30 this morning. Now, I want to tell you that neighbors have been lining the streets, and I've been talking to a lot of the witnesses, and they said they all ran out immediately when they heard. Some neighbors were pounding on doors asking, get out, there's a fire, because the concern here in the neighborhood is that when it starts with one house, it's going to spread quickly the other. As you saw, fire crews were able to stop it after 2 houses, but let me just show you the extent of the damage that can happen. And this is partly, we're across the street, and this is why a lot of the neighbors were all concerned. Look at the way the heat just rippled the siding here. Neighbors have complained that they have, their glass was broken out because of this heat.
So from Waste Watch to Waste Watch, according to Mission Readiness, every year the military discharges 1,200 first-time enlistees for being overweight, costing $50,000 for each man or woman. And add it all up, that's $60 million a year.
Let's lighten the mood a little bit, okay? Thank you for having me in. Love what you've done with the place, by the way.
Looks great.
New carpet and painting.
How are Harry and Penny doing?
Harry and Penny are great. They're just over there in the kitchen, probably right now.
Usually you will get a flash fire that will give you a quick burst of flame.
Before you throw anything on top of the grill, here's a simple way to figure out if you have any leaks in your propane tank. Get a bowl of water and some dish soap. Mix it together and then apply it on the hose and part of the cylinder. If you see any bubbles pop up, then you know you have a leak. But this one seems pretty good.
It's an experience that few have, but anyone can do. To fly in an authentic World War II bomber, soaring among the clouds in the same plane that flew over Europe during the height of the war. It's part of the living experience at the World War II weekend here at the Reading Airport. Now, if flying is not for you, there's still plenty to do on the ground.
They're going to see encampments from the Pacific. They're going to see European encampments, Russian encampments, Scottish, virtually about from every country that was in the conflict in World War II.
Harrisburg native Russ Drine is the president of the Mid-Atlantic Air Museum, which is hosting the 3-day event, a weekend that is truly close to his heart. His father, Gene, was a World War II Navy flight engineer and patrol squadron over the Pacific. Gene vividly remembers what it was like serving in World War II.
200 ships lined up on the ocean. We patrolled around with the destroyers and the cruisers and protect them from the German submarines. I'd do it again.
This is the 23rd year for the World War II weekend, which is considered to be the largest of its type in the nation. A few $100s will get you a ticket on the Yankee Lady, a B-17. This flying fortress can hold up to 42 bombs weighing a total of 6,000 pounds. B-17s had missions all over the world. Primarily, they spent their time flying from England to Germany and bombing such cities as Hamburg and Berlin. To sit in the same seat an actual gunner sat as he flew over Europe, or to see the communication station or even the cockpit of the B-17, it's easy to see how different things were back then and gives another view into what our military went through to win the war.
Cell phones. We all have one, 5 billion of us worldwide to be exact. But have you ever thought to clean it?
It's not really on my priority list.
Every now and then, my coworker uses her tongue to clean her phone.
A cell phone is probably one of the few items you might never clean. But if you think about all the places it's been, where you've laid it, what it's come into contact with, You may not be so shocked to learn about all the creepy crawlers your cell phone is harboring. And because we have our cell phones with us every day, all the time, they're a prime breeding ground for bacteria. Not only because we keep them in warm places like our pocket, but we take them in places we probably shouldn't, making them dirtier than a toilet seat.
It's been like a lot of places, like I drop it all the time and stuff.
Probably everything and anything possible gets on my phone inside the buttons.
Just don't take your phone to the bathroom.
But studies have shown that our cell phones are dirtier than the bottom of a shoe, even a toilet seat. So what better place to put that theory to the test than the biotechnology lab here at Harrisburg University.
It is hard to believe that, how dirty your surrounding can be.
We had 4 people volunteer their phones for testing. The university's vice president for communications.
I have no idea what we're going to find. We might actually find Jimmy Hoffa before this is all over.
2 biotechnology students and my own.
Will allow like fecal contamination, bacteria, yeast, and
I'm getting nervous here. We took swabs of each phone, a toilet seat, and the bottom of my photographer's shoe.
During this job, you don't know what you're going to find.
Each sample was put in selective petri dishes that'll determine what bacteria grows. General bacteria, yeast, strep, staph, even fecal contamination. The samples were put in an incubator, and 2 days later, the results.
Whose is that?
Tanya's. Good news is this, that it doesn't have the strep.
The bad news is it did have a number of forms of general bacteria. And
these are E. coli.
Yes, you heard right, E. coli, fecal contamination. And I definitely wasn't alone here. Each cell phone tested came up dirty.
We can see easily that there is an assortment of different bacteria growing on the plates.
Some phones even had staph, which can cause anything from pimples and boils to life-threatening diseases like pneumonia and meningitis.
For the cell phones, you're ignorant. You never even want to think that, it has so much of bacteria and all kinds of things growing on it. So unless you are in the habit of cleaning it, then obviously it's going to be dirtier.
And that's because we clean our toilets more than our phones. The results of this study proved just that. The phone showed more types of bacteria than the toilet seat. And if you're wondering about my photographer's shoe,
this is your shoe and this is your toilet, the toilet thing. So your shoe was dirtier than the toilet.